come Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appear.
Hi, I'm Drew Downs. I'm the rector at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church here in Terre Haute, Indiana. It is exciting to be with you today wherever you are and whenever this is, right? It's wonderful. Technology is beautiful. Now, one of the things that I'm excited to share with you today is this idea. I'm a fan and user of this word, of Advent Word. It's a global Advent calendar they've been doing for several years now, and it is a lot of fun. If you haven't worked with Advent Word, I encourage you to give it a shot and just Google Advent Word and you can find it. But today's word is feed, and I want to share with you this something around this that I think is really interesting to me, and it says something. Now, feed is kind of an easy thing for us. Food, we love food, right? And Episcopalians do food as well as any church, probably. We love our potlucks. We love doing that sort of gathering. We love that stuff. We also are, we're always interested in feeding other people. So we don't just, think of feeding people through the communion table. We feed people, or feeding people in a potluck. We feed people who come to our doors, or we offer soup kitchens or food pantries and those sorts of things. And that kind of work and really making those connections between feeding from the table and feeding the community, these things are all intertwined with us. We use the same word, right, for all of it. Even if we want to classify it differently, it's the same word. And so it all gets pulled in together. But I want to tell just for me, an interesting part of our story is a few years ago, shortly before I came here, we had a very small group of people gathered to start participating in something that I don't know if you're familiar with, but it's called the Point in Time Count. It's where the National Bureau, the HUD, Housing and Urban Development, get a national count of the homeless. And so, and it's done in January. And January in Indiana is not the best time to do that. People aren't out and about, so finding and collecting numbers of the homeless population is difficult, but we wanted to get involved. We were asked and wanted to get involved in doing that work, and so that work led to, what's a way that we can get people to come be counted, and one way to do it was to feed them. So we started participating in that, and over that time we got involved in other things. We got involved in the Homeless Coalition. I got involved with a friend. I started going and volunteering at a soup kitchen at the Catholic Church in our neighborhood. And so we went down the street on Tuesdays, and that's where we met Susan Seitz and a few other members of the team that did the Tuesday soup kitchen. That team sort of struck out on their own and started doing a feeding ministry when they realized that there weren't any soup kitchens open on the weekends. So they started doing this sort of Friday afternoon feeding. So people would come from the soup kitchen across the street and they would get food for the weekend from Susan and her team. And so they started doing that, and it sort of expanded, and they moved to the bus station, which is just about 2 blocks from the Catholic Church, which then made it, and the bus station was 1 block from our church. And people would walk down, and it was bigger, and so then it was getting cold, and they needed a place to be, and they asked if they could come into our church. so that we could help them feed the community. And it wasn't easy. Even though it all makes sense, all of this stuff, it wasn't easy for us to see how this does align with our goals, because we get worried. We get worried about our building. We get worried about who sees our building. We get worried about locked doors. We get worried about all the details. And so, but we went ahead and gave it a shot. That was November or December 2019. And so they were in place and ready when the pandemic started. And so they started handing out food through the windows. They started, and it's grown, and so now it's a drive-through, and we keep feeding more and more people through this. It keeps growing. I want to just offer this story as it is. I don't think we need to dress it up. I don't think we need to try to make any greater sense of it than to say sometimes feeding is hard, but you know what happens is sometimes God gets involved and God makes this stuff bigger. And then we have to deal with the fact that it's bigger. That doesn't make it easier. It just means it's bigger and we have more people to deal with. And then we get a chance to rise to that occasion. And then guess what? Feeding is our work, and it is a beautiful sign of what God is doing. And so I am thankful for that, and I am thankful for the efforts that you participate in, and I encourage you to continue feeding those around you. May God's blessing be with you.